The last type of management we'll discuss are the chemical options. The type of pesticide you use to control weeds are all called herbicides. Most people typically think of synthetic chemicals when they think of herbicides, but there are organic options as well, like clove oil, acetic acid, or corn gluten. However, just because a product is labeled organic doesn't mean that it is less dangerous or can be used casually. Plants can create some pretty nasty compounds themselves, so just because an herbicide is plant-derived does not make it safer. Make sure to follow instructions on the label and all safety precautions. Additionally, we do not recommend using or telling others to use vinegar or salts as herbicides. The main categories of herbicides are selective and non-selective, pre- and post-emergent, and foliar or soil applied. Selective herbicides distinguish between broadleaf and grass-like weeds. For example, a selective herbicide for use on broadleaf weeds can be sprayed in a lawn and have no effect on the grass. There are also herbicides which will select for grass-like plants, and not the broadleaved ones. Non-selective herbicides don't distinguish between types of weeds. They are effective on both broadleaf and grass-like plants. If you use non-selective herbicides to kill weeds in your lawn, it will kill the lawn as well. Herbicides can also target weeds at different life stages. Pre-emergent herbicides are applied to prevent weeds from germinating. Also, they are not specific to weed seeds alone. If you apply a pre-emergent to a newly seeded lawn, it will prevent both the weeds and the grass seeds from germinating. Post-emergent herbicides target actively growing weeds. For herbicides available to homeowners, products are either applied to the ground, as with pre-emergent herbicides to prevent seeds from germinating, or they are foliar applications to the leaves or above ground tissues and absorbed into the plant. We spend this time discussing categories in order for us to be able to understand the variety of chemical weed management options out there. Also, we try not to endorse any brand names, yet attempting to know, let alone properly pronounce, the active ingredients can be a challenge. Perhaps it may be easier to recommend products by referencing these broad categories. Let's apply the terminology to some real-world products to better understand what they do. For starters, let's look at a pre-emergent non-selective herbicide. As a pre-emergent, we know it must be applied to the soil before seeds germinate. As a non-selective herbicide, it will prevent both grass-like and broadleaf seeds from germinating. They work best if they are mixed into the upper 1 to 2 inches of soil or watered in. They will not kill emerged weeds, so you need to make sure to time the application appropriately to prevent weed seeds from germinating. These products are available as both organic and synthetic forms. They are best used for weed control around existing plants in the garden, such as in the perennial flower bed. Always read the label for instructions on proper use. Post-emergent selective herbicides are applied to the foliage of actively growing plants. You can choose products that will select for broadleaf plants only or products for grass-like plants only. These can present a problem by drifting onto non-target plants you want in your garden. Because of this, it's important to make sure you're spraying when it's calm outside. These products are typically sold as grass killer or broadleaf weed killers. At this time, there are only synthetic forms available. Always read the label for instructions and proper use. Post-emergent non-selective herbicides are applied to the foliage of actively growing plants. Being non-selective, they will kill both grass-like and broadleaf plants. Some of these products, when properly applied, are absorbed into and circulated within the plant, increasing the likelihood of killing the roots of persistent perennial weeds. Again, these can present a problem by drifting onto non-target plants you want in your garden. These products are typically sold as total vegetation killers and may come in organic and synthetic forms. Always read the label for instructions on proper use. A note on controlling woody weeds. One option is to dig up the entire plant, but this can be difficult and time-consuming. Another option is to cut the plant down to the base, but many will resprout. To prevent resprouting, some species respond to girdling. To girdle, remove a small strip of the bark all the way around the stump. Another option is to brush that surface of the stump with a non-selective herbicide labeled for woody plants. These products are typically sold as woody brush killer, stump killer, or similar. Always read the label for instructions on proper use. So let's do another quiz. On the left are the products you can choose. On the right's the situation. So which of the products can tell the difference between grass and dandelions? That would be a selective herbicide. Which of the products can you apply to prevent seeds from germinating? That would be pre-emergent. Which of the products are applied to actively growing plants? That would be a post-emergent herbicide. And which of the products can possibly kill quackgrass and your petunias? That would be a non-selective herbicide.